Tools that are used to put together an RC kit. The manuals a lot of the times don't do an adequate job of telling you exactly what you need. And as I finish each build, I notice I have quite a few tools in my workspace. So I wanted to go over a few of the tools, well, all of the tools that I use for the process. This is probably the most used tool, a little small pair of needle nose pliers. They're used for gripping, holding, pulling, whatever you need. These are probably the most used throughout the whole kit. Side cutters. I use these to cut metal, thick plastic. I don't cut my plastic from the part sprues with that. I have these sprue cutters left over from when I did just regular plastic model kits. These work really well to remove the parts from the sprues. I believe these are made by Zuron or something, I don't know. They come highly recommended from the guys at my hobby shop, and they do a really good job. It's Zuron. You can barely see it right in there, but yeah. So a combination of these two to do my cutting, metal and plastic. After that, I'll probably use these the most. Simple X-acto hobby knife, plenty of blades. I believe there's 20 blades in this box. Costs about 10 bucks. X-acto knife. You're never going to stop using that the whole kit. Mostly just to trim the little bits of flashing off of the parts after they come off the part sprues. So much, too much to name. This is a essential tool. Small screwdriver. It's a jeweler style screwdriver. Comes with a few extra heads in the tail. Nothing fancy, just does the job. This one actually doesn't get used too much because most of the screws are hex screws. I think a lot of the older kits use more standard screw sets, but everything I've dealt with has pretty much been hex. So this comes in handy, but not so much. Not as much as these. These are hex drivers in an assortment of sizes, made by Dynamite. These are much better than these. These happen to be the first ones I got. And then these work fine. There's nothing wrong with them. The red ones have a heavier weight to them. They feel more solid in your hand. They're a bit shorter in the handle, but the actual tool is longer. I don't know if that makes much of a difference, but I prefer these red ones. The battery's charged. Okay. So these are nut drivers in an assortment of sizes again. Also made by Dynamite. It came in a nice little package. Here I got 5.7, 5.5, and 4mm sizes. I believe there's one more driver in the set. These were pretty cheap. I picked these up for around 15 bucks at the hobby shop. I don't think they're anything fancy. I don't know if they're the best tools for the job, but they absolutely get the job done, and that's pretty much all we need. So those are another set of drivers. These don't get used as much as the hex drivers, but I would say they do a lot better job than these. These come in every kit that I've built. They work fine. It'll get you through. It's pretty small. You don't have much leverage trying to turn this. That being said, it does the job. Nothing wrong with it. I prefer to use something like this though. But whatever works. These are free in most kits. Also, these two little wrenches. I use these so much. I believe this came with my Losi Mini 8. Not exactly sure on that. This came with the slash. I'm not even sure this is meant to be used as a wrench. I think this is used to pop the little ball ends, the little ends onto the drive shafts. If they pop off, you use this to kind of leverage and get them back in. But I use it as a wrench, and it comes in handy all the time. Yeah, these two little jobs, I don't know what could replace them. Sometimes I use the needle nose pliers, but that tends to scratch up a lot of the finish on the screws. Not that that's a big deal, but I prefer not to. So these come in handy quite a bit. After that, I have this. This is a tiny little cordless drill. And I used this Losi driver set with it. Come in several different sizes, and they pop right into the end of this drill. They make several types of this. This is a Black & Decker. They also have Skill, and Ryobi has another one as well. I picked this one because it's extremely low torque. It's not very powerful at all. This model doesn't have a battery pack, but it is rechargeable. But I rarely have to charge it again during the build of a kit. I don't use this to drive screws all the way down. I use this to get long screws close, and then I manually tighten them with a driver, just to avoid any damage on the kit. These heads I found in this Losi screwdriver kit. I could probably just use this. I wouldn't say this is necessary, but this saves a lot of manual twisting that gets old and tired very quickly. So I recommend this. I don't think it's too expensive. I think I paid maybe $40 for this. But yeah, it comes in very handy. The light, I don't know if that's so handy, but there it is. Scissors, general purpose, not used too much. You need them every once in a while. And that's about the extent of that. Body reamer. You're gonna need one of these to make nice holes in your bodies when you get to that stage. Once again, I don't know if this is the best reamer. I've used this with no problems. It takes a little bit of time to get through. Maybe I could have a better one, but this does the job just fine, and I've had no problems with it. It's very sharp. Does a better job after you get the initial hole punched. This is my first body reamer. I don't know if that's standard on all reamers, but this one does what it needs to do. Make sure you get the little tip back on there to protect what tip you have. Also with that comes your Lexan scissors. I used to try to cut that out, cut my bodies out with scissors, a combination of scissors and a hobby knife. And actually for straight lines, I do still use a hobby knife. Score deeply and then snap. I read this on a forum and on a few forums, and it seems to work really well. But for those tight spots, you're really going to need a pair of Lexan scissors. Also, the Lexan scissors allow you to cut radius much better. Now, that being said, you can also do such with the x-acto knife, but I still find that Lexan scissors come in very handy. I did not have these Lexan scissors for my first 5 bodies, and after getting these scissors, I can say that there's a big difference in ease and speed as opposed to trying to use standard methods. So the combination of the x-acto knife and the Lexan scissors are how I do my body work. These are clothespins. What I've done is taken the clothespin apart and turn the actual wooden piece around so that it gives me a needle nose. I use these to hold things, anything I might need for gluing, painting, anything. These come in really handy. I think you can get a pack of clothespins for next to nothing. I got 2 different sizes. These come in very handy for all sorts of uses. As you can see, I've been painting with these. They're really good to hold things. People also use these, I think they're called binder clips, or I don't find these as effective, and they hold much tighter than these safety pins, but both work, and I'm sure you could use either one, whichever one works for you. After I'm finished cutting my body up, I like to sand the edges a little bit. I do not have a Dremel at this stage, so sanding film is my best friend. This is an assortment of sanding films, very light to pretty coarse. This is actually made for home use. I bought this out of the hardware store, and these are actually testers, and they come from the hobby store. You know what to do with sandpaper. You sand stuff down and get it smooth, and that's that. Got your body all painted up. You want to cut your decals out real nice. There you go. Nothing special. Metal straight edge. Clean line, gives you clean lines. Put it down. Cut along the edge, like so. Nothing difficult. Just a little something to ease the process a little bit. And tweezers, general purpose use. I use these for everything. Again, nothing special. Just something to hold, move in the tight spots, move things around when I need things moved, and so on. Zip ties. You need zip ties for everything. I never can have enough zip ties. You zip tie something on wrong, and then you have to clip it and put another zip tie on. These are small. I have large ones as well. I always use black. I don't like the white ones or the clear ones or the colored ones. I don't. If you want to use white, clear, or colored, it's up to you. But for Donnie Baxter and Team Baxter, I like to keep it clean with black zip ties. I'm getting down to the end of the tools. digital calipers. These, I don't even use the digital function so much. I just use the measuring function, just to compare sizes, see how big things I need things are. The digital comes in handy when I need it. These aren't terribly precise, I don't believe, but they do just what I need them to do. I don't see a need for a more expensive set of digital calipers. These have a 0 point, you know, I mean, it's calipers. I mean, what do you expect? It does what it needs to do, and that's about it. I got these for somewhere between $10 and $20 at Lowe's. Come in a little case. They don't get used so much, but it's very nice to have a set of calipers when you need them. I didn't use these for a long time, and now that I have them, I use them all the time. It's great to have them. So that's about all the tools. I have a few fluids. Let's start with Loctite. This is not, obviously not the brand Loctite. This is Zap. This is what my local hobby shop uses, and they swear by it. Frankly, I don't know the difference. My last Wraith kit, Axial gave some. I did a comparison. It's about the same stuff. It works fine. What I can say, use it. Use it religiously. You need Loctite on any metal to metal connection with screws. You need to use Loctite. Don't underestimate vibrations from a car. They will loosen your screws. You will lose your screws. If it doesn't happen today, it'll happen tomorrow. If it doesn't happen tomorrow, it'll happen next month. Eventually, your screws will back out. Metal to metal screws will back out. You need some Threadlock. Whether it be what the manufacturer gives, if he gives it, in this case, a half a bottle from Axial, came out of the box like that. Or you go and buy your own, whether it be Zap brand, Loctite brand, you need Threadlock. After that, I'm a cyclist, so I have a steady supply of Tri-Flow. I use Tri-Flow to oil my bearings. This is not something that anyone told me to do. I'm not sure if it's beneficial. I'm not sure if it's non-beneficial. I haven't noticed any negative effects from oiling my bearings. I believe I read this somewhere on the internet at some point. So that's what I do. I oil my bearings with Tri-Flow because it's light, it's thin, it doesn't burn up. It's made for spinning parts. So it does a really good job. It's very thin, it flows where you need to go, and it works well. It's Tri-Flow. I got this bottle from my bike shop, but in the helicopter section of my hobby shop, they also carry Tri-Flow, and I've used it with my helis as well, with no problems. I don't know if it's detrimental to the long-term life of my RCs, but as of right now, I'll continue to use Tri-Flow to lubricate any part I see fit. After that, we have shock oil. Once again, in the case of my Wraith, I don't know how many kits give you oil, but my Wraith came with 30 weight oil for the shocks. I actually, during the build, always use stock fluids if they're provided, with the exception of the Threadlock. I use the Zap Threadlock. When I'm using my own oil, I use the factory team oil, this silicone shock fluid. Honestly, these are about the same. There's not much difference. This is one of the brands my hobby shop carries. I'm a brand loyal guy, so this is what I use. I'll continue to use this until they don't carry it anymore. That it's just shock oil. There's nothing to it, but you need some, and I don't think all kits come with it. So grease. This is green grease. This came in my kit as well, but this is empty, and I could have used more. This is for one kit, and they give you exactly enough. There might be a little bit left in this head, but that's pretty hard to get out. Grease is something you're gonna need, and I'm not sure if the kits provide enough, so you might need some extra grease at some point during your builds. I think it'd be good to have some on hand. I actually do not have any extra grease on hand. I wish I did, but like I said, they provide enough. I could probably squeeze out just a bit more if I had run out, but they provided just enough to get the diffs built. So that's that. CA glue. I use Jet because frankly my hobby shop owner gave me about a half-hour talk on how much he loved this glue. It's very thin. I use Jet Blue. They have a Jet Yellow, different thicknesses. I use Jet Blue. I use this universally for my tires for any plastic on plastic joints. It works well, dries quick, very strong. I haven't had any problem with debonding, so I'll continue to use this product until they no longer stock it in my local hobby shop. It's Instant Jet glue. I've also used Zap glue. I think I actually like Instant Jet a little better, but that might be a personal preference as well. But yeah, CA glue is very important. And that's about it for the tools. Once again, just want to say it's quite a bit more than what the manuals say that you need. But I guess the manuals are working on bare bones and just to get the kit together. So